Good evening and welcome to another Forgotten North podcast. Good evening, Stan.
Good evening, Scott. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Evidently not as good as you, having assumed you've just watched the Newcastle game and no match of the day spoilers, but it was a good evening to be a Newcastle fan.
It's a happy season. And just in case I do hear Eddie Howe listens to our podcast because he's a big.
Well, I mean, I assume he does.
But get well soon, Eddie.
I assume I've heard that's how he gets his All World fix.
Yeah, he's a big fan.
Yeah. So, I think first of all, apologies that we haven't had a podcast out since our preview for the Colchester event. I think it's safe to say we've had a couple of IRL issues, and we'll throw some apologies in straight away that this is just going to be Stan and I chatting about the event. The video file and the photo file rather has been a bit corrupted somehow. But we will try to sort of rescue that if we can, and maybe do another one in the future with just some screenshots of
technology doesn't work that far south.
Evidently not, yeah. Once we get south of the M62, and then certainly once we get south of the Midlands, things get wild. So apologies to...
And you couldn't get me down there.
Yeah, I mean, apologies to all of our opponents who let us take photos of the games. Hopefully we'll get that out in a secondary review, but in the meantime, you've just got Stan and I sharing our thoughts about how the Colchester Clash went.
Yep. Wow.
And
as usual, started with a very long drive.
It was a long drive to start with. A good drive though. Like, to be fair, the journey, although long in both directions, was good fun. And we made good time and everything as well, which is good when you're travelling the length of the country.
On the way down, we just reviewed 38 lists.
Yes. I mean, in the future, when we do such a bizarre, a long drive like that, what we might try to do is some sort of live recording, but we'd have to see how road noise, etc., would affect it as well. But I mean, that's maybe something we can test for a laugh, and it gives us enough time to review all 38 lists without having to invest time away from work where we're having to sort of take the time off to go attend events and
it's more the rage in it, the state of people's driving abilities.
Yeah, but maybe people would tune in for that. Maybe people want to hear me rage at Southern drivers.
But anyway, we went down there, and yet again, as another event run by the TC lot, it was red hot.
I mean, they tried saying that it's not always hot in Essex, but evidently we go down at least once a year, and it's always scorching. So yep. I assume they're lying, and it's just always hot in the south.
It was, but we had a lovely day. Colchester is a lovely city.
Colchester is a lovely city. But also shame that some of our photos we're trying to rescue, because we actually took photos of some of the nice bits of the city, and we had a very pleasant Friday afternoon and evening, didn't we?
Yeah, just walking around, lovely Chinese, lovely good few beers.
Yep, had some nice bars, and we had a little prowl around that old castle, overlooked the park. It was very pleasant.
It was very civilised, but then onto the business.
Yes, because I've led to believe that people don't actually watch these to see or to hear about the random places in the UK that we travel to.
Yeah, our city reviews.
Yes, I mean maybe that should be a different
or second channel.
A different channel, yeah. Scott and Stan review ... various different cities in the UK, but only really small parts of it.
I will say that weekend, and other people have highlighted it, there was 40 of us at Colchester. There was 20 odd up here in Newcastle for a one-dayer.
Yep.
And there was...
a TSN event?
A TSN event which had 20.
And there was an 8th edition event across in Cardiff.
With a few weirdos playing 8th edition.
18 odd bods. Amazing for the hobby, isn't it?
So over 80 people playing Old World that weekend.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant across the sort of country to show the real healthy state of the hobby.
Yeah, it was amazing, you know, and only two idiots left the road there in the hometown to travel 9 hours.
I know. That said, sort of very top line summary of the event. Like really well ran by Scott. Did a sterling job at keeping sort of timings on track and
Yes.
moving things along. Like Scott really knows what he's doing when it comes to sort of running an event, the actual mechanics of it, and he did a cracking job.
Great TO.
Yeah, fantastic TO, and I think like hats off to him because I think that was tight TO and that many people by himself.
Yeah, but he was there and he was good spirits throughout.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, the event itself was held in good spirits. Like everyone, I think every attendee was like really positive and really. When they had rules queries, it was all done in sort of good spirits for the most part, and they were all happy to wait for Scott to get back to them, which is positive because obviously being a solo TO, like you did have to wait a couple of minutes sometimes, but nobody sort of complained about anything, which is good.
And when people were ruled against, they took it. No one had a hissy fit.
Yeah, which is important. Like, let's be honest, it's a game of toy soldiers that we play as adults because we love the game, we love the hobby. Like anyone who takes it too seriously and gets really emotionally upset if something doesn't go their way, like whether it be dice or a ruling doesn't quite go your way, or people who like get so passionate about it they feel they need to sort of purposely misplay rules, something like that. Like, oh, like maybe ask what else is going on in your life that causes you so much heartache and strife over a game.
Yeah, but all good, very positive.
Yeah, really good event, really well ran, really held in good spirits, and ran very, very smoothly by Scott.
Yeah. So, we'll get to the meat and potatoes of it. Round one.
Round one, open battle.
Yeah. And I started playing Russ Taylor and his beautiful high elves.
Oh, that army really was lovely, and it was a really different colour scheme compared to what you often see with high elves. It was like an off grey and red colour, wasn't it? It was really nice.
The Mechanica standard grey and then a very deep red.
Yeah, I thought it was really classy.
It was beautiful. Really, really nice. But open battle, we'll come on to it, but he castled up in the corner.
He was very scared of the Green Knight, wasn't he?
He was terrified, and unfortunately, his movement, he left me with the peg block going through the Silver Helms into the Sisters with his wizard, and after that.
Aye. It shows, like, even the Green Knight, even if he doesn't do a lot, the threat of him sometimes is bizarre.
Yeah. Quite honestly, we'll come to this at the end. My thoughts on the Green Knight.
Yes.
But it was a good game. It was pretty much over by the top of turn 4.
Yeah.
Ended with his dragon, who had the double opal amulet, the regen and the ward. So we just shook hands at that point.
Well, got to that stage where you essentially probably couldn't kill that dragon, or you'd have to throw everything at it, or you couldn't pin it down, and he wasn't going to engage you anyway, were you?
Yeah. Well, it would have been me firing cannons and him flying around.
Yeah.
So we just shook hands now. So it was a solid 20-0.
Yeah. Well, I also started against elves, but I had the wood elf variety, and I was playing Ed with his also beautifully painted wood elf army. The basin was amazing, and the colour scheme and the paint job was excellent. It was a really, really nice army.
When I came over, it looked a beautiful army.
It's really nice. Had the wood elf dragon build. It's like really good in challenges and like probably the anti dragon.
Yeah.
A treeman, and then a variety of other sort of Glade Guard and some Dryads. Everyone was armed with, and some Scouts. Everyone was armed with, oh goodness gracious,
Bodkins.
Bodkins. Yeah, the armor bane one, or the AP one rather. So probably a really good
AP2, isn't it?
AP2.
AP2.
So probably a
Okay,
really, really good list to fight Brett's.
That would have messed me up.
Yeah, but against like me, I just didn't care if you had armor pen or armor
Yeah.
pen. Like nothing's got armor really anyway. The dice were awful for him, and I got first turn TMP'd the big blob up, and in a one round of shooting took 4 wounds off his dragon. He then had to charge with his wild riders because of frenzy, so he charged with the dragon as well. The wild riders failed the charge, and I took 4 wounds more on the dragon and stand and shoot.
Oh no.
Yeah, he then
Down to 1 wound into your block.
he then whiffed in combat, broke from combat because I double outnumbered him, etc. I restrained and then shot him to death in turn 2.
As his back was turned.
Oh yeah, absolutely shot him in the back. Yeah, like an absolute coward, obviously. And after that, to be honest, it was then just my King of Necrosphinxes flying around, mopping up like the rest of the army, and me Blob then to essentially TMP'd around again and shot the shot the treatment to death as well. So we were done by end of turn 4. It was also in a solid 20 nil sort of to me as well. But Ed was a really lovely guy to play, and his army was really, really nice. It was like it was a real pleasure, and it was a really nice game. His dice were appalling, and like to be fair, my poisons were like shit hot on the big stuff that game.
Yeah, he seemed to be taking it. He was laughing when I came over.
Oh, honestly, like he was a real pleasure to play. Like he was a really good guy. So like hats off to him, and I said to him after, I was like, I'm so sorry your dice were so bad. Like he shot everything for a full turn a bit into I think a Necrosphinx and only did 1 wound because he couldn't roll a 6 to wound.
Yeah.
And like I volley fired into his dragon and did 4 wounds in a turn, and that was after all his armor saves. So like you've got to ask sometimes where's the justice in the dice, to be honest. But
well, it was a good matchup for you.
To be fair, on paper, like that is a really good matchup for my list anyway. So I should have done well. So the list performed as I would expect, and like it was a tough match for him. Add that to his dice not being particularly good, it was only going to go one way, to be honest. And but a real pleasure to play. A really nice guy.
At this point, we were both thinking, just don't draw each other going into round 2.
Yes, that is very high on what we were thinking, to be fair.
You know, the message of don't both get the same score had been lost.
We were hoping that if we could avoid each other, like let's avoid each other. And only if we have to play game day 2, that's cool, but please not day 1.
So then into round 2, I had Tom and his CDs.
Yes, thankfully we did avoid each other. Spoiler alert.
It was essentially we had 4 CDs lists.
4 CDs. All the lists were very similar, with some magic items as the only real difference.
Magic items in core.
Yeah.
This game, it was a very, very tough game. I probably got too aggressive, and ultimately he got his Black Hawk with the -1 to hit, the Ash Cloud in, so I just couldn't do anything. I was just standing there, couldn't roll the dice, and yeah, it was a tough game. I misplayed it, and it was and I hate Motley Crue.
Yeah.
No offense to Tom, but he played Motley Crue so well and exploited it.
He played his list very well, to be fair. Really well.
He exploited it to the maximum within the rules. But
100%. Yeah, he played his list very well.
Yeah. So, but it was a 15-5 loss, so I was quite pleased to walk away with 5 points at the end of it.
Yeah, and sometimes when things aren't going your way, or it's a bad matchup, or you just don't play well, sometimes it's about the points you take away, not the points you lose.
Yeah, that's having the 3 toughness 7 pieces in the list is just, and then a toughness 6.
The fact that it's double Iron Demon, Lord on a Bale Taurus, Black Oak Lord on a Werven, Like, it's the three big things that are just really hard to kill.
Yeah. The Black Orc's hardly easy to pick up either.
Well, he's got a 2 up, 5 up, 5 up.
No, he's only got a 2 up, 5 up.
He had a 2 or 5 up in his list. Yeah.
But he's -1 to hit in combat, and then if Ash Storm's off, it's -2 to hit.
Oh yeah, it's a well thought out and well put together Chaos Dwarf list, to be fair.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's why all 4 were identical.
Give or take, aye.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Ribbons.
Yeah. So my game 2 was really against Max, formerly of Triple Crown, running his Demons of Chaos 100% Khorne list. Like, Bloodthirster with the flail, which is essentially Ogre Blade but better. A Demon Prince who had some good tools as well. A really big block of Bloodletters with some quite good toys on their banners and stuff with a BSB in there. And a Skull Cannon. And some Blood Crushers. It was a cool list, all Khorne.
So, properly themed.
Oh, really well themed. Like really nicely put together. And hats off to them for playing a 100% Khorne army in an edition where demons are not great, let's be honest.
Yeah, and Khorne is arguably a bit suspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are. The Bloodthirster's a beast if he gets into combat. So, spoiler alert, he did not get into combat. We set up, I went first. Max had positioned his Bloodthirster and his Demon Prince across the diagonal away from the blob of skeleton archers. But then I TMP'd across to him and one tapped his Bloodthirster on turn 1.
Yeah, so he put it down and then picked it up.
Yeah, so I one tapped his Bloodthirster on turn 1 and flew all me 2 Necro Sphinxes and me King just right up in front of some of his stuff to just let them charge because in the next one I just didn't care. I was worried about the Bloodthirster and that was about all I was worried about with my big monsters.
Yeah. The Bloodthirster could have picked up one of your kitties or your King.
Oh, the Bloodthirster would probably have killed anything he touched, to be fair. On the charge is what? A minimum of 7 attacks? 7 attacks? Be hitting on 3s at the worst. Wounding on 2s. Even with a reroll, he'd be wounding on 2s against me King. Each wound being D3 wounds. If he got into combat, he's an absolute beast.
But you just said, no.
But like I said, I got onto his saves. I think I did 22 wounds in one round of shooting.
And just a straight 5-up save.
And he's just a straight 5-up save. So I think he might have had armor, but either way, I one tapped the Bloodthirster in turn 1. And then after that, I just pretty much ground down the rest of the list, to be honest. King and a Kitty into the Bloodletters, a Kitty into the Blood Crushers. He charged me King with the with the cannon, the Skull Cannon, which was the right thing to do because I had him sort of pinned in. I mean, again, it was a real tough matchup for Max. And after I went first and I tapped his Bloodthirster, after that point it was just game over.
Yeah, it's downhill from that point.
Well, other than the Bloodthirster, he's got nothing else that can really worry us. The Demon Prince a little bit, but I eventually shot him to death as well, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not gonna. It was a good draw for you.
It was a good draw. Obviously Max is a sterling gent, and it was played in a really pleasant and really nice manner. But he knew it was a bad matchup, and he knew the minute I went first, and he watched the blob come near his Bloodthirster, he knew it was game over. But that didn't stop him playing, tried his best, rolling the dice and having a good time. We had a good game.
Yeah.
And he's a sterling gent and always a pleasure. First time we've actually played against each other, I think, which was nice. But yeah, this was over by end of turn 4 again, and it was a 20-0 to the Toon Kings.
So then, going into round 3, I had Martin and his Warriors of Chaos.
Now, I've only briefly got to speak to Martin, but he seemed a genuinely nice guy as well.
Lovely guy.
Yeah, he seemed like that chat you were having after the game. He seemed a really good guy.
We had one of the games, and it was probably my favourite game if I remove personal friendships from it, which we'll come to. It was such a good game, and typical Warriors of Chaos list, the dragon.
And stuff.
Not typical at all. He had the dragon and a big block of chosen knights.
Ooh.
And only a level 1 with the puppet.
Oh, so he was giving up any magical real offensiveness to just look at defence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then he had a big block of Forsaken and a Warfire Dragon.
Oh yeah, he was running a big blob of Forsaken rather than any sort of...
big.
Yeah, rather than MSU, which is, I think, the standard Warriors build per se. I think he was running blobs, like a big blob of infantry and a big blob of troops, wasn't he?
So...
horse, sorry.
Good player, and we'll come to this in my closing thoughts, Jerry Springer style. He had 70 points of Warhounds, which blocked out the one natural feature in his half.
Well played.
And just sat there all game.
Yeah, of course they did. Like, that's what they're there for.
Yeah. Combat. I had a massive combat in the middle. At one point, my Knights of the Realm went into the rear of his chosen knights. I lost that combat.
Sorry, say that again?
Chosen knights
Mm-hmm.
into my yeoman at the front, and my Knights of the Realm went into the back, and I lost that combat.
Solid.
My Knights of the Realm were disappointing until what happened next. The 2 survivors were just sitting, running away, and got the attention of the Dragon Lord.
2 surviving Knights of the Realm?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Chaos Dragon Lord in them.
Right.
Man, those guys had the lady all over them. I lost 1.
So Chaos Lord went on the Chaos Lord on the Dragon went into a unit of 2 Knights of the Realm, and at the end of it, you still had one Knight of the Realm left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Who just stood there and went, "Damn you."
Get in. There's nothing else to say about that. It's outrageous.
It was more laughing about it because when I went into the Chosen Knight, I absolutely whiffed. Didn't hit, didn't wound, nothing. And then, a round later, I couldn't not roll a 5.
Nice.
But it was a really, it was one of those exhausting, tactical, well-played games.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And it came out a 10-10 draw, which was...
Seeing this, there was barely anything left on the board, was there? On both of you?
By the end of it, I had the remains of one of the Ninth Realm units, the Bright Wizard, and I think that was about it. And he had his Dragon Lord.
And the Green Knight?
On the Green Knight. And he had his Dragon Lord.
That was wild. Yeah, I remember coming across thinking, wow, this was a bloody affair.
Yeah, but 10-10 would just destroyed each other.
Yeah.
But really, really good game. Dice on both sides for good and bad.
Fair dues.
So I finished day 1 on 1-1-1.
So my game 3 was against one of the other Chaos Dwarf lists that were in attendance, which was Joe and his Chaos Dwarf lists. Again, nice army. Really love the basing on this list as well, to be fair, which I commented to him about. Like this nice red kind of lava style basing, which really popped. But just like every other Chaos Dwarf player there, he was running Double Iron Demon. He was running Sorcerer Lord on Bale Taurus. He was running the Black Orc, but his was a 2-up, 5-up, 5-up. And then whatever the core was, to be fair.
Yeah.
This was a funny old game. Good game, like, to be fair, good game with Joe. Joe played it really well. I think I misplayed a little bit in this game, to be honest. At the time, I thought I didn't think I had, but with hindsight, I did, and I should have played more aggressively than I did. Which, remember that, because it's going to come back to bite us in the arse in approximately 2 games' time. So I played against Joe's Chaos Dwarfs. Should have been more aggressive. Wasn't. He killed a kitty. I killed all of his core. I think he killed me blob as well, because he managed to get some stuff into it. It was a really, really tight game. I think the difference was about 90 points or something like that, one way or t'other. And it finished a 10-10 draw as well. It was really cagey. We both had to really think about what we're doing. And like Joe played it really well. Hats off to him. I had one chance where I should have taken the king into the Sorcerer Prophet, and I didn't. And I think in hindsight, I should have. And I also think I was targeting the wrong thing with the blob. I was targeting the Black Orc when I should have absolutely been moving them around and shooting off Iron Demons.
Yeah.
But like, you live and learn.
You can't play every game perfectly.
No, you absolutely can't. But don't get me wrong, it was a really good game. Like, really enjoyed playing Joe. He's a good player. He'd smashed his first 2 opponents convincingly, and so it was a really... Like, he knew what he was doing. It was a tough game. And after it, like I say, we walked away with a 10-10. We're both, at the time, pretty happy with the result, to be honest. It wasn't until sort of further reflection that I thought I probably could have played it better. But at the time, I walked away from the table thinking, actually, it was fair. It was a fair result. So, no complaints. And it's easy to play the game in hindsight. I'm sure everyone does the same, don't they? Like, oh, I could have played that differently or whatever. But
you know, we've had a week. We're gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it was a good game. Finished 10-10, and it meant I finished day 1 on 2 wins and 1 draw.
So still well in the mix.
Yeah. So I think obviously with the draw was done before we went away. It wasn't at the end of the day, and I think I was on table 2 going into day 2.
Table 2, yeah.
And were you on table 4 at that time? No, you were.
On table 8.
Table 8. Table 8 going into day 2.
Rocking the mid-tables.
Rocking the mid-tables.
But then we had the night at the hotel.
The night at the hotel.
What you need after 3 days of Warhammer is to go back a good night's sleep.
This was the only criticism we've got of the day, wasn't it? Of the whole weekend, was that the hotel we're in and that night's sleep was just atrocious.
They had a 60th birthday party.
And
went on and on.
Did I say 1:30 roughly? I think that it stopped.
1:30.
Banging music on.
I passed out at about 1 o'clock.
I did not. I listened to the end of the party, and then lay there, and just lay there until about 2 o'clock. I think I nodded off. So I think I then woke back up at about 5:30 in the morning. So about 3.5 hours sleep going into day 2, and knowing that I also had a 6-hour drive home on top of that as well.
We were pretty grumpy.
Oh, we were not happy bunnies, were we?
It was, yeah.
Like,
Just to say that hotel would be getting booked again.
We've been very lucky on our travels, and we haven't had many duds. But this one was definitely.
To be fair, when we
definitely a
checked
dud.
in, the guy said it would end by 11, and that's what was annoying.
Oh yeah, like he's like, look, I hope you don't mind. We've got a party, but like, not if we had a mind, not wouldn't make any difference. But he said, look, it'll be finished by 11:30. So like, really sorry, but it's booked. And we're like, yeah, cool, 11:30, like perfectly reasonable. Like everyone, by the time we have the after noise and whatnot, will be call it 12 o'clock, and at least we'll get 6-7 hours sleep.
Yeah.
But that was not the case. It finished at like 1:30. It was awful.
Granny's partied hard.
Honestly, savage granny from Essex is the only summary I think we can have there.
Yeah. But anyway, going into round 4, I had our good friend Liam.
Yes, you did, and his nomadic wah.
So, all things considered, to play someone we know well, and I know you're just going to have a good game with.
Yeah. And this was command and control as well, wasn't it, with the Dark Ruins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice. So, Liam was bringing his absolutely gorgeous nomadic wah.
Tell you what, he has done a stunning job with that list, hasn't he? The shields particularly really just make the entire army stand out. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. But, being in the mood I was, we both had Vanguard units. The invitation to treat was there. It would have been rude not to take it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if anything, you're a victim of circumstance.
So the peg block and the general went into just the ordinary bow boys, not the big ones, just the ordinary ones. Champion challenged out my general, whiffed, survived.
Of course it did.
The peg knights bounced off the bow boys, so I was like, oh yeah, here we go. He killed 2 pegs. I was like, well, I wasn't expecting to burn stubborn straight away.
I mean, stubborn after you've charged a unit as your peg block is not cool.
It was. I was like, well, this is how this is going to go.
Yeah.
But eventually it all descended down. And at one point, one of those horrible, horrible things that if it had been me and Liam playing, I would have said something. But it was a tournament game.
Aye.
And to be fair, I didn't immediately clock on until we were doing combat res. The big melee was all happening. There was multiple units involved, including the Green Knight. He charged a chariot and his general into the Green Knight, thinking he's going to get Bazinga combat res.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, skirmisher, latest FAQ, doesn't count as having any face in combat.
Of course, which is stupid, but them's the rules.
One of the things I was like, after I was like, we talked about it, and I was like, felt horrible. It didn't sit right with us because it changed the game.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, it's one of them, wasn't it? Like, it was in the FAQ. It's not a hidden rule. It's like, it's a rule. Like, it's the rule that's there, and it's in the FAQ. It's for everyone to see.
Yeah,
it's a stupid rule that we don't agree with, but like, it's the rule.
When you're in a tournament and it's playing like that, and it's kind of like, if it had been a game and I'd clocked on immediately, I would have said, "Why are you doing that?"
Mm.
But I didn't clock on at the time till it got to combat res, and
yeah,
I felt a bit gamey.
I know what you mean, but like, you can only play the rules that are there. Like,
yeah,
we know skirmish rules are a bit trash, but they are what they are.
Yeah, but that changed the game, and then it just snowballed for Liam after that. And at the end of the game, I think he had his shaman on a wolf left.
Ouch.
So, but it didn't feel like that because I had lost a lot.
Oh yeah, this is the one where you said actually it felt more like a
15-5.
Yeah, but it finished at 20-0 on the scoring system, didn't it?
Yeah, Scott was using 150 point brackets,
which does seem to be the community standard at the minute, and I don't like it. I prefer our 200 point bracket.
When you look at when you go through Best Coast Parents and look at all the results, the amount of 20-0s.
Yeah, and a lot of them were not 20-0s, to be fair, or shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it's like that game. It should have been. It felt like a 15-5.
Yeah. But
lovely playing Liam.
Yeah.
First time I've played him competitively.
Fun of Lima, I think I've only competitively played once, and he's avoided us at every other tournament on purpose. He's a Scott Dodger.
That's just common sense.
Whoa.
But
I'm a lovely guy.
yeah. I don't know
Well-
how to get away with that. But it was a lovely game. It was the tonic I needed after that
Aye.
night before.
You couldn't have asked for a better game 4 from an opponent point of view after such a shit night, etc. And at least you knew you were going to have a good game.
Yeah, it was played perfectly.
Yeah. Well, I played Cody and his vampires in game 4. I hadn't met Cody before. We hadn't certainly, so therefore never played before. Like, what can I say other than what a genuinely lovely guy. Like, absolute pleasure to play. Like, and actually, with that night we did have. Like, I'm so thankful. To be honest, so thankful that I ended up having a really nice opponent. He was really cool. He had quite a funky list. Like, he had his general was a level 4 necromancer on horse that kind of just hid behind stuff all game, but he had a vampire on a coven throne.
Yes.
On illusion with a great weapon, law familiar. That was pretty interesting. A block of blood knights, a big block of black knights, block of zombies, a wraith. No screams in the list at all.
Black Coach?
A black coach, yeah. And some dogs. He might have some other bits, but like it was a really different vampire list, and he was a really lovely guy to play.
And it just proves, being up there, that you can't play vampires other than screams.
Oh, 100%. Like he played his army well as well. He knew he was doing. He also had a BSB with the helmet commandment that gives him additional weapon skill in that Black Knight block. It had the banner. It was a big chunky ass Black Knight unit, and like I said, Blood Knights are just a tough nut to crack as well. Like if you don't kill them, all of a sudden they're just back.
Yeah, I really rate the Blood Knights.
You like a Blood Knight bus, to be fair, don't you? But yeah, good game, like really good game. It ended up being tighter than it should have been. He had, I think, one or two Black Knights left at the end of the game. I got his general necromancer down to 1 wound, and he passed its 5-up regen, and his vampire on Scry on that Coven throne was down to 1 wound and flew in on last turn, his last turn took the Dark Ruin, and my lord went into him and fluffed all of his attacks.
Yeah, I'll stand there.
Oh my god! Like the dice were so bad, but I came out with a 12-8. Weirdly, it felt like it should have been a bigger win. Like if it hadn't been for the Dark Ruins, it would have been at least a 14-6.
14-6 because it was with 200. It was
But,
with two swings.
Like, if my dice hadn't been so terrible and I'd killed these vampire, etc., like it would have been a big win. But
Yeah.
like I don't begrudge it. Like Cody was a genuine pleasure to play, and after such a shit night, I needed it because I was knackered, and not on top form. But like he was a really good game. Had a blast, and got a win, but not the win I think it should have been if I'd either played slightly better or the dice had just been slightly better. But that's how it goes.
So,
That's how it goes. But 12-8, good game. And more importantly, after having that night's sleep that we're talking about at the hotel, it was just so nice to have a good game on game 4. And Cody was a lovely guy, and I hope we see him at events again and I play him again because he's exactly the type of guy you want to play. He's good fun. Game was played in the right way. We played with intent. We spoke to each other throughout, telling each other what we're trying to do. Like, yeah, cool, that's fine then. If that's what the aim is, like, pop it there, it's there or thereabouts. Like, it was just played really nicely. And he actually got my favourite opponent vote because he was a really nice guy. It was nice to meet him and get to know him a bit over a game of Warhammer.
Cool. And then over lunch, we did as all Warhammer players do, we crunched the numbers. And you needed a 14-6 in your next game
To guarantee winning.
to guarantee winning.
Yeah, I did.
I needed a decent win and the results to go my way. to podium. Potentially as high as second.
Yeah. If results had went your way, you were looking at a strong finish. If things had went well, we could have looked at a Forgotten North 1-2.
We could have. It was on the cards, but as discussed, we were not in our finest.
No.
We were struggling at this point.
No spoiler. It did not finish Forgotten North 1-2.
No. But I had Tyrone and my second CD list of the events.
Yes, you did. And I had Tom, who you'd played in game 2, and my second Chaos Dwarf list of the weekend.
Yeah. My game, I played it much better than I did the first one. I held off, used my movement, pretty much controlled it, and it was one of those games. It was a bit tense because we were both playing with something in mind.
Well, because he also knew if he won big, he'd have also pretty much guaranteed at least second, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a few moments, but it was all done and really tough. Really tough. It wasn't helped. The room we're in was very noisy.
The room was very noisy. It was very loud and a bit low ceilinged for 40 players.
Yeah.
The sound really bounced around the room. It was probably the one criticism I had of the event. The space was tight.
Yeah, and there was times when things were lost in communication. But that said, I would play Tyrone again. It was, I walked away with a 14-6.
So solid win.
So a solid win. It was tough. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But now I was just sitting waiting for other results.
So, refer back to my earlier comment when I played Joe and said I should have been a bit more aggressive. Being a bit more aggressive absolutely bit us in the arse in this last game, to be honest. Like, I should have just played it the way I was going to play it and just play the cautious kill an Iron Demon, teleport round, kill an Iron Demon, and just hold all my big stuff back. After it didn't quite work out with Joe, whether it was dice or whatever else. Like I didn't play that game, and ended up I killed an Iron Demon with the blob, poisoning it off, etc. Got me Sphinx around the edges. With a Scorpion coming up, but the big swing was that he got his Black Orc into my king on a charge that I didn't think was possible when I placed him where he was. Now that was probably tiredness on my behalf. To be fair, I'm not accusing Tom of any misplay for clarity. He was very particular with his movement, and I just think I was tired and didn't put me king where in the right place. So he got his Black Orc in, and then I think a turn later I then also got his Sorcerer Prophet in, and like you mentioned, the Black Orc's -1 to hit. The Sorcerer Prophet had Ash Cloud, which is -1 to hit. The Sorcerer Prophet was also equipped with Demonic Familiars, which is -1 ward save and -1 regen to anything in close combat. Not that he has to be attacking. So, like, eventually, to be fair, the Black Orc, I got down to 3 wounds, I think, but because you
couldn't hit him back.
I couldn't hit him. I was essentially relying on getting fluky hit with 6s and then getting some stomps through. Like, and my ward was then down to a 6-up. My regen was down to a 6-up. Like, he killed us, and like, hats off. He got that. Getting that combo in was massive. I thought I'd blocked it off, but I hadn't. And then, to be honest, yeah, and then after that, I got a little bit. I took a Necrosphinx into a unit of Black Orcs. Dice were awful. Like, I couldn't hit, I couldn't wound, and I'd lost a Necrosphinx and a Scorpion. And And at the end of it, it finished a 14-6 loss, not the 14-6 win that I needed. Now, Tom played it very well, but I think this was by far the worst game I played all weekend, just when I needed it most as well. I think with hindsight, if I'd played it cautiously like I intended to, I'd have got the win I needed, but I didn't, and Tom absolutely capitalised on it, to be fair. Like I should have won that game. I didn't win that game. I played poorly and Tom punished me for it, would be my top line summary.
To be fair, spoilers here, Tom won the event.
Yeah, he did.
And he only dropped 11 points all event.
Yeah, we're the only two people he didn't 20-0, didn't he? Aren't we? Yeah, the other three people he played, he 20-0'd. Look, his list was very well put together and he clearly knew what he was doing with them.
So just going it, finishing it, you finished 5th.
5th. And you, however, Stan?
But then Russell, who I played in game 1, finished 4th.
Yeah, because other than losing to you, he 20-0'd pretty much everybody else, didn't he? He beat everyone else anyway.
Last game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, it was 12-8 in his last
game. To Drew.
Yeah. Then I finished 3rd.
You did, congratulations. Great finish. Great finish.
And Andrew, it was another Exiles list.
Drew, yeah, good, lovely guy. Really lovely guy.
Finished 2nd and then Tom on 1st. But you didn't walk away empty-handed.
I did not. I was thankful enough to have very good games, and I came in with the favourite opponent award, with 3 out of my 5 opponents voting for me as their favourite game, which I very much appreciate, and it's an award I've won several times, and to be fair, I do very much cherish the sort of the best sportsman vote. Like, to do it with a competitive list always feels very, very rewarding.
It was pointed out during the award ceremony that to do it and be at the cutting edge of it. Yeah,
I was joint with 2 other guys with 3 votes, Brennan and Rob, who also are both wonderful gentlemen and good Warhammer pals. We meet them at lots of events. They're really nice guys. Rob has a particular special place in my heart. But yeah, I was very honoured to get the most sporting with whilst finishing 5th, and could have came first. But you cracking 3rd place finish though, mate. Really good finish.
Yep, another 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm always the second bridesmaid.
Second bridesmaid. That's the best bridesmaid though. That's what I've heard.
That's the one that hasn't been defiled by the best man.
But first event with Brett's for you as well.
Yes. Right. Now.
So that's how it finished. Good weekend. Overall, for sure. Really good weekend. Lots of good games of Warhammer. What are your thoughts on your list going forward and in general?
I don't like the Green Knight.
Which is insane, but yeah.
I never, after I waxed lyrically about him in the pre-show, getting him on the table and that, it's the AP1.
He has no damage output, to be fair, does he?
He has
against good stuff. He kills chaff.
Yeah, against chaff, but you 270 points to kill chaff.
He's more of a points denial piece than a points gain piece, is my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't mean this to come across smug or anything, but good players know how to marshal them into bad positions. Yeah,
it was only fundamentally your Warriors game that he did well for you, wasn't it?
No, the Warriors game he didn't particularly do well.
Held his points though.
He held his points, but again against the Chosen,
he did nothing, did he?
Did nothing. The only thing he got was when he finally got the Sorcerer in a challenge.
Yeah. I know what you mean. He's not great as far as damage output goes.
Against Liam's Orcs, he was bouncing off chariots.
Yeah, the AP1 is bad. It's bad. Maybe it's also matchup dependent. You played CDs twice, you played Warriors. Um,
And 3 Obama orcs.
yeah, but conversely, I would suggest look at how just having him in your list, the threat, what that did to the high elf list.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's a threat piece, but he's too matchup dependent.
He's very matchup dependent. I definitely agree with that.
275 points of good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Because I had to get him in along with the wizard and both barons. I had to take suboptimum choices on the baron. So no Falconhorn, no this and that.
So list evolution wise, are you thinking about dropping the Green Knight and zhuzhing up your other characters? Is that the plan?
Dropping the Green Knight, dropping a unit of Knight of the Realms because they're just garbage. Absolute garbage.
They did not perform particularly well for you this weekend, though, did they? At all?
They're the same. It's the hitting on 4s. They've already got...
Well, they hit most other troops on 3s, I suppose. Or 4s, I suppose they're better than skill 4.
Yeah, they're just... So what I'm thinking now is double level 3.
Okay. You like double wizard, though, don't you?
I like double wizard. 1 on elementalism.
Love elementalism.
Just the rust guarantees that you can't take stuff off.
So if you have 1 on elementalism, 1 on battle, which one gets... No?
Elementalism with low familiar.
Right.
And then a demo one.
Oh.
So...
Okay.
The low familiar one goes with the elementalism. So I'm guaranteeing rust and wind blast.
Yep.
And then dealer's choice on.
They got TMP depending on what you're playing against.
Ramparts.
I mean, I genuinely think elementalism as an all-round law is the best in the game.
Yeah, and rust can be cast into combat, so it just means it gives us something in the grind as well.
Yeah.
Then the default one is whatever he rolls plus the summoning.
I mean, summoning is one of the best signatures in the game. The 18-inch range, 2d6 with AP is very good.
So with the Ruby Ring, I'm then guaranteed 3 magic missiles.
Yeah, which is good and actually gives a lot of range threat in an army that doesn't have a lot of range threat. Well, other than your cannons, obviously.
And then one of the Knights of the Realm units turns into mounted peasants.
Mounted yeoman.
Peasants. Who give the wizard reserve move.
Yes, because he joins the unit in open order, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And unlike my wizard, yours is the same troop type.
Nope. The wizards are on war horses.
Oh, so they can join and stay in skirmish.
Yeah.
You disgust me.
And then they've got a few little magic items like the +1 to dispel.
Yeah.
Hexes and 3-inch range. A few little bits and pieces. And the Falconhorn goes in.
Yeah, if you're not feeling... I always think as well, if you're not feeling a particular character or unit, like drop it. And if you're not feeling the Green Knight, then the absolute thing I agree with is drop it if you're not enjoying it.
Yeah, I enjoyed him. I just think...
Or, yeah, but if you think you can still enjoy the list but be more effective by dropping them, then dropping them is the right decision.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with this new version of the list. I haven't got anything... I haven't got any tournaments planned.
No. Well, I've got Warhammer World coming up in a few weeks. Lunacy having going to an event the weekend before we host our GT.
Yeah, mad dog.
Honestly, I genuinely think I am insane.
But I haven't actually got anything in the books.
No, like we haven't, have we? So I've got Warhammer World, and then we've got our event, and then there's nothing in the diary until September. Oh no, that's not true at all. I've got the Home Nations Cup in July.
Yeah.
And then the World Champs in September.
Yeah, the home nations. I'll be there as either a player or an annoying drunken git because it's actually on my birthday.
I mean, you'll be a drunken git regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your birthday.
Yeah, but there's a potential I might be playing for the Irish.
Yeah, I hope so.
Being drunk is
a given.
I assume I've got to be drunk.
Wow, you'd assume so. But we don't have any singles tournaments booked in, though, do we? Other than my one. Ideally, we'd like to get a couple of TSN events in. Just we've never been.
I would love Glasgow to have another big one this year.
What we are looking at potentially is trying to see if we can get the time off work, particularly me, to attend the Welsh Open in Cardiff.
Yep.
In October,
the week before Halloween. 23rd, 24th
Yeah.
October.
Which will be a nice also little break then before our next event, which, watch this space, we will be announcing shortly after our May event.
Yep.
But yeah, if TSN could announce some September date, not September because I'm screwed in September to be fair.
Yeah, they've got nothing post their last Old World event.
June? End of May, start June? Yeah.
June.
Like, the issue with TSN for me is that they are announced so relatively late for getting the time off work.
Yeah.
That's the challenge with it a little bit. But yeah, we've got our event that we very much look forward to, and on the build that we will be doing hopefully if we can get the lists all in time, a list review for all of the lists at our event.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be. I think the deadline is. Just looking at the calendar here. 2 weeks. Today.
2 weeks today.
So come into our event, get your lists in. They're all hidden. No one can see anything, so just submit them.
Yeah, we'll maybe do a bit of we'll have some posts coming out on Facebook and some emails very shortly to nudge people. Because 2 weeks before we would love to then be able to have time to do a proper list review and talk through the lists, because obviously they're all open once they're all submitted and locked, and what we think might do really well.
Yeah.
A
couple of days to check them, and then hopefully have something out.
Yeah.
Going through 40 lists.
Very much looking forward to the next Forgotten North GT in May. Like, really looking forward to it. Love hosting events. Full 40 people are we've had a couple of drops, but we've got a big reserve list, so they've been filled really, really quickly. There's a good crowd, a lot of competitive players, like a lot of high-end players attending as well, so the top table should be very heavily contested.
But a lot of good people.
There's loads of good people at the event, like, to be fair. I think it'll be an absolute blast. And very, very much looking forward to our event in May.
And as it stands at the minute, being Sunday, we've got 22 of us, or 23 of us for the Saturday night.
So 22 or 23 out of 4, if you can, out of 4, 20 people out of 40. So 50% of the people attending are also staying over for the meal on the Saturday night.
Yeah. Which
is brilliant, and that was a blast last time. So I'm really looking forward to that. Honestly, it was excellent. And on our event for me, we've actually also increased our the prizes a little bit, haven't we? As in, there's prize for second runner-up, first runner-up, and winner. There's also a prize for best of the judge's favourite army, best individual model, and also favourite opponent, which will be voted for by the players. But yeah, it should be an absolute blast, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Which hopefully there'll be another podcast in between, like there should be. But if not, then very much watch this space for list reviews coming up in the near future.
Definitely, probably would have to aim to do that week commencing the 28th. Yeah. So. Yeah, watch this. We'll get, as soon as we record that, we'll get it out as fast as possible so you can sort of see it, or people can listen as they sort of travel to Newcastle or whatever else. But we look forward to sharing that.
But in the meantime, I think that sort of sums us up, doesn't it?
I think we've witted enough.
So, like, thank you for anyone who's listened through this hour of chinwag nonsense from the two of us, as per.
It's our brand.
It's how we roll. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and we will see you on the next one.
We'll see you later. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.